Last Chance U is a series I have been covering a lot on my channel these past couple years, especially these last few months. If you want to see any of the videos I've made recently about Last Chance U, about any of the players or coaches, I'll have the videos down in the description below if you want to go back and watch them at a later time. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 players from Last Chance U when talking about people's college football careers after their time on the show. There's been a lot of great players on Last Chance U, all the way from Season 1 in East Mississippi to the very last season at Laney College. This is my top 5 players when talking about their college career after their JUCO days, and there's a lot of players that could have made the list. And first, I'm going to be talking about the honorable mentions. But before I start off the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. To start off the honorable mentions, the first player that I have, in no particular order, is a fan favorite from East Mississippi Community College in Season 1, Ronald Ollie. Ollie played at Nicholls State for a total of 2 seasons, where he racked up 74 total tackles, 20 tackles for loss, and 7 sacks. In his final season at Nicholls State, he was an All-Southland honorable mention. The next honorable mention that I have in today's video is from Season 2 of Last Chance U at East Mississippi Community College in Tim Bonner. Tim Bonner played a total of 3 years at Florida Atlantic after his time at East Mississippi, where he racked up 58 career total tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 2 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. In his final year at FAU in 2019, he was a Conference USA honorable mention. With the next honorable mention, he's from Season 5 at Laney College. It's Razon Wright, defensive back at Oregon State. He has been at Oregon State since 2020 and was a starting defensive back for 2021, where he broke out in 13 games played, racking up a total of 51 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 8 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 forced fumble. He is back with Oregon State for 2022, and maybe after his 2022 campaign, he may be top 5 all time for Last Chance U players in their college football careers. The last honorable mention that I'm going to be talking about in today's video was at Independence Community College in both seasons of Season 3 and Season 4. However, he was featured heavily in Season 4 as opposed to Season 3, and it's none other than Chance Main. After his time at Independence, he would play a total of 2 seasons at the University of Incarnate Word, where he played in a total of 15 games, racking up 50 total tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 5 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. In his final year at UIW, he was a 3rd-team All-Southland Conference member. Just like Wright, his college career is not over, as he's going to be playing for Colorado in 2022, and he's expected to be a big part of that defensive line. Moving on to the top 5, coming in at number 5 on my list is wide receiver from Independence Community College in Season 3, Calvin Jackson Jr. After his time at ICC, Calvin Jackson Jr. would play a total of 4 seasons at Washington State, where in his career, he had 104 total receptions for 1,403 receiving yards, averaging 13.5 yards per reception, and a total of 10 touchdowns through the air. His biggest year came in 2021, where in 13 games played, he broke out where he had 66 receptions for 987 receiving yards, 15 yards per reception, and 7 touchdowns through the air. In that season, he was Washington State's leading receiver for receiving yards and yards per reception. In this season as well, he was named as a 2nd-team All-Pac-12 member. Next up at number 4, I have Chauncey Rivers, defensive lineman from Season 2 of Last Chance U at East Mississippi Community College. After his time at EMCC, Chauncey Rivers would end up playing football for a total of 2 seasons at Mississippi State. In his 2 years as a Bulldog at MSU, he would rack up a total of 67 tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 2 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. His biggest season came in his final year in 2019, where he had 43 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 2 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble, and was even a 2nd-team All-SEC member. Moving on to number 3, I have running back from Season 3 of Last Chance U at Independence, Rakeem Boyd. After his time at Independence, Rakeem Boyd played a total of 3 seasons at Arkansas, where he played in a total of 30 games. In those 30 games he played in his career as a Razorback, he had 389 rushing attempts for 2,176 yards, averaging over 5 yards a carry, and 13 total touchdowns on the ground. His best season came in 2019, where he rushed for 1,133 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry and 8 touchdowns on the ground in 12 games played. His last season was pretty shaky in 2020 in 6 games played. However, I do feel like he had a good 2-year start at Arkansas his first 2 years, and I feel like you can't take those away from him. So in my opinion, I have Rakeem Boyd as a top 3 college player ever from Last Chance U. Next up at number 2, from Season 2 at East Mississippi Community College, it is linebacker Dakota Allen. Now, unlike everyone else has been on Last Chance U, Dakota Allen is the only player in Last Chance U history to go back to the college that he originally started playing at, which was Texas Tech. But when talking about the 2 years after Last Chance U at Texas Tech, the 2 seasons he was there, he racked up 162 total tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, and 1 forced fumble. When talking about some of the accolades that he had to his name in the Big 12, he had first team All Big 12 honors in 2018 and second team All Big 12 honors in 2017. When talking about his entire career at Texas Tech, Dakota Allen was a baller as he had 249 total tackles, 17.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions, 7 pass deflections, 3 fumble recoveries, and 1 forced fumble. On to the final player in today's video. Coming in at number 1 is defensive lineman from Last Chance U Season 3 and 4, primarily focused on in Season 4, Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson is the only player in Last Chance U history to become a first-round pick and to be the number 1 rated JUCO player according to the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings in his class. After his time at Independence, the first college that Jermaine Johnson would be at is Georgia. He played at Georgia from 2019 to 2020, where he primarily was a reserve, but he still put up some numbers and was solid, as he had 36 total tackles in a total of 20 games played, while also having 7 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. After the 2020 season, he would transfer to Florida State, where he would truly break out. In the one lone season that Jermaine Johnson played at Florida State in 2021, he became one of the best defensive players in the nation, as in 12 games played, he had 70 total tackles, 17.5 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, 2 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 forced fumbles. Some accolades that he added to his name in that season: he was a first-team All-American according to WCFF, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and first-team All-ACC. When talking about his entire career post-Last Chance U, the 2 years at Georgia and the 1 year at Florida State, Jermaine Johnson had 106 total tackles, 24.5 tackles for loss, 18 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. Well guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below if you want to see a pro football version of the players that are featured on Last Chance U from Season 1 to Season 5. And don't forget to comment something down below as well about what you thought about the video, my top 5, and people that were in my honorable mentions. Let me know if you agree or disagree and think that I should have put someone else in the honorable mentions or even the top 5. Before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly, out.